Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm Robin, and I serve on your board of directors. Welcome to everyone gathered here and online. Whether this is your first time here or you joined us years ago, we're delighted you're here, and we're delighted to be together. This is our second Sunday of our Sunday shift, so we started the morning off at 9 o'clock with the first fellowship. Then on-site coffee and RE at 9:30, and now we're in our full service. So we are now a full multi-generational congregation. So we have everybody here in the hall and online. So if you hear sounds from young ones and old ones, let's try to enjoy it all as part of our growing community and learning to be together. Newcomers, welcome. And the best way to get more information is to sign our virtual guest book, either using the QR code on your order of service or at the welcome table in the fireside room. Online folks, please plan to join our Zoom coffee hour after the service. Just go to UUFAIM's website and click on the button to join. For those of you on site, we will have more conversation after the service, and be sure to come back next week before the full service between 9:30 and 10:30 for a fuller hour of coffee and treats. We do have one announcement. The annual Interfaith Service honoring the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is coming up. It will be next Sunday, January 18th at 2 p.m. at Unity Church on 9th Street. The citywide celebration for MLK will be the next day, Monday, January 19th at 6:30 p.m. downtown at the City Auditorium. Thank you for joining us today.
These words of Reverend Michelle Collins call us into fellowship today. Welcome, all who are restless for a world renewed. We come carried by ancestors who refused the silence of despair and dared to sing a new song. Their courage whispers through us still. Today, we resist by showing up together. We resist by keeping faith with what is not yet. Our gathering in itself is an act of sacred descent, calling us to rise and unite as co-creators of a freer tomorrow. So come, let us gather in fellowship. I invite those at home to light a candle alongside us as we light our chalice here, saying these words together. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together for all that is our life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good. And make our own days for needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good, and make our own days glad. Thank you. Please be seated.
Today our service is called Past, Present, Future, Resistance is Evergreen. And when I hear that title, to me, that means love, courage, and justice don't belong to just one time. They're values that keep showing up in the world again and again, even and perhaps especially in times that feel the most painful and dark. This morning, I'm going to invite you all to tell our story with me. As I tell the story, when I pause and say the words, even then, I'll invite you to say the next line with me, the work continued. So let's practice that one time. And even then, the work continues. That was great. Let's begin.
Dana?
Yes.
Is it the word continued or continues?
Right now, it's continues, but you should listen for clues to change the tense at times. Thank you for asking. Long ago, before we were born, there were people who noticed when something wasn't fair, so they spoke up. They helped each other. They tried to make things better. And even then, the work continues. Sometimes they felt tired, or they felt afraid. Sometimes they weren't sure anyone was even listening. Yet even then, the work continues. Later, new people came along. They listened to the stories of the ones who came before. They learned what helped. They learned what didn't. And they brought their own voices and their own courage. And even then, The work continues. Sometimes when things felt heavy, people gathered together. They stood side by side. They sang. They marched. They held signs. They showed up peacefully, not because it was easy, but because they knew they weren't alone. And even then, the work continues. And now it's our turn. We live in this moment, right now. We still notice when something isn't fair. We will still stand up and witness for one another. We still hold each other with kindness, rooting our work in love and in the promise of beloved community, even when it's hard. And even now, the work continues. And I want to tell you that someday people in the future will look back on this time and they'll learn from what we tried, and they'll remember how we cared for one another. What began with our ancestors that even now travels through us will be carried forward by them, and even then, the work will continue. And that's what it means to say resistance is evergreen. Love keeps growing and courage keeps showing up, and none of us carry the burden alone. We belong to something bigger that spans across time. And so our story ends, and the work continues.
We continue the work by sharing our time and our talent and our treasure with this congregation and beyond our walls. Each week when we gather, we take an offering, and we keep half of the non-pledge offering here to support our programs and all that makes this a vibrant community. And half of our non-pledge offering goes out the door. And this month, to one of the most important and timely offerings that we can do. All throughout January, we are sending half of our offering to the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice. Just this month, they have been training legal observers so that when ICE comes into our communities, people will be trained to observe for them. Their mission is to build a movement led by migrants and refugees and provide high-quality legal services and community empowerment through organizing. They do such important work, and we are glad to partner with them. We can give in all the ways. Here in the fellowship hall, we're going to pass the baskets. Of course, if you're online or you have a smartphone, you can go to our website to give any day of the week you want to. That's just fine. And if you are a guest with us, please know that your presence is gift enough. Yeah. My heart is moved by all I cannot say. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I can hardly breathe this week. I am finally beginning to feel a little more in my body, a little more like myself. Do you feel it too? You find yourself catching your breath, reminding yourself to breathe? Do you have to remind yourself to put down the phone? Some good comes here, some not so good. I couldn't wait for this time, this morning, when we bring our joys and sorrows, when we bring our broken and bruised and battered and beautiful hearts all into one space. I do not know how we do this except together. I don't know how we get through this time except together. I can't. And so I'm so grateful that you needed to be with each other this morning so we could be here together. In our joys and sorrows, we lift up our stories, and I want to lift up two stories from the congregation today. Longtime member Pat Brooks died this week on Thursday. Pat's memorial service will be held this coming Friday, which I believe is the 16th, at 2 p.m. at Ryman Gardens. We'll let you know more as we know more. Members usually receive an email when we have the obituary, and we'll send that out this week. We think of Mary and all of your family as you are navigating these tender days. And our member Craig Mushall lost his mother this week. Isabel had a long time illness, and she died this week, I believe also on Thursday. So we think of Craig and Mary and their family as they live into what is a new normal for them. We're grateful to be together in this time. And of course, Minneapolis, of course, and all the other places where people are hurting. It's hard to know what to say, but we try, and we bring our speechlessness here into some shared moments of quiet. Let's lift up the names of people or groups of people that we're particularly thinking about. And this doesn't just need to be sadness. You may also have joy on your heart, and you want to lift up those names as well. This is the time for us to hold them together. Betty and Wayne.
Minnesotans.
Trans folks, immigrants, people of Gaza. For all that is spoken and all that is unspoken, we open our hearts. We practice expanding that muscle that we can hold not alone, but we hold together. We're going to sing, stay seated and sing, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, like a prayer. Let's sing it twice through.
Dan Gilroy and George Lucas wrote the following in Nimick's Manifesto from Andor. And remember this, the imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks. It leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear.
And the work continues. And the work continues. What did she say? And still? And still. Even now. Even now. The work continues. See if I have it all in one place. We'll see. Today I'm calling it past, future, present. I'm changing the order of things. Past, future, presence. Resistance is evergreen. And by evergreen, I mean that it's always fresh. Sometimes preachers will write a sermon and then want to give it again, and it's past its shelf life. Right? There's some topics that are just no longer current. But resistance is evergreen. It's always fresh. So as Dana was telling her story, and she was talking about the people who realized that something wasn't right, something wasn't fair, and they thought that they would get together and do something about it, I thought we could tell that about all kinds of different groups. You know, groups that have stood up in resistance in the past, who have risen up. And so we can think about several different ones. Can you think of a group that has found itself mired in oppression and decided to rise up? Just say them out.
Suffragettes.
Suffragists, yes. Slaves, thank you. People who were enslaved, right? The Irish. The Irish Rebellion. I see here another one. The LGBTQ plus community, yes. I think of the Stonewall riots in particular.
Warsaw Ghetto.
The Warsaw Ghetto, yes. The Jewish uprising.
Colonial Americans.
Colonial Americans.
The French Resistance.
The French Resistance.
People of First Nations all over the world.
People of First Nations all over the world. Indigenous people. Women textile workers. There's another one.
Black Panthers.
The Black Panthers. I'm going to talk about the Black Panther Party.
Disability groups.
Disability groups. Thank you.
Banjo players.
Banjo players. All right, the revolt of the banjo players. Which is not to say that they're revolting. Thank you for that.
You hit someone with a banjo, they'll go down.
For those folks who are joining us online, we know that you are thinking of particular groups as well, that we can, throughout history, think of groups who have experienced themselves in oppression and have risen up. And those stories continue to inspire us. And as you go through the week, those will come up and you'll say, oh, I wish I'd shouted that out this week. So you'll continue thinking of those. I want you to do something with your hands. I want you to, if you're able to do this, I want you to take one hand and sort of press it down. And take the other hand and press up against it. Now, I think the occupational hand therapist will tell us this is good for us. But what I want you to feel is that resistance. You can turn it over if you want to. But we're pressing down with one, but we're pressing up with the other. We're not able to push it all the way down. You can relax if you want to. And I want to teach you a song about resistance. You may know it already. And when I first learned this song, I learned the lyric wrong. And I think it's much better the way it's written. Thank you, Mark Miller. We resist. We refuse to let hatred in. I used to think it was let hatred win, but it's better. We refuse to let hatred in. We rise up. We won't back down. We're in this till the end. I'm going to sing it a few times. Join in when you're ready. We resist. We refuse to let hatred in. We rise up. We won't back down. We're in this till the end. Oh, we resist. We refuse to let hatred in. We rise up. We won't back down. We're in this till the end. We'll sing it again. There are so many hard things about right now. And one of the hardest, to me, is that our government is not telling us the truth. That's one of the hardest things. There are the physical things that have happened, the difficulties. And one of the hardest things is learning that our government is not telling us the truth. And we know that's not right. We know that's not right. And so we are asking the really good questions. And as people who are bound by a set of values, and truth is surely one of those values, we say this can't be right as we listen to all the other things that happen. And I think what I want to say is it's not new that our government is not telling us the truth. Out of all those stories in the background that are the history that we've heard today, the government didn't tell the truth about what was happening with enslaved people or suffragists or the Irish rebellion, or the government was surely not telling the truth about the banjo players. Whatever it was they were doing, it wasn't right. I mean, you can just look at their reputation and see that it wasn't right. The government didn't tell the truth about the Black Panther Party. 60 years ago this year, the Black Panther Party was founded in Oakland, California by Bobby Seale and Huey Newton. Now, there was a group at University of California, Berkeley, very progressive campus then and now, that were a group of African immigrants, students who had come from Africa to study at this American university, just a few of them, and they formed an Afro study group. And they were a little seed bed, but there weren't very many seeds. And so they went recruiting at some of the other universities, and they went to Merrick College, which used to be Oakland City College, and recruited some of the students there. And Huey Newton and Bobby Seale were two of those students. Now, the African-American students at Merrick College were among the first in their families to have gone to college. Their parents and grandparents were part of the second Great Migration that came out to California, and so they had access to higher education for the first time in their families. And they were reading philosophy, and they were reading political science. And these guys were smart, and the young women who were with them, they were smart. And they were getting a hold of ideas. As people who have been denied access to resources, take a hold of a resource and do something new with it. They were self-identified Marxists, and so they were really looking not only at the race struggle, but very much the class struggle. Who has more and who does not have enough, and what's happening to the people who don't have enough, and that is not fair, and what shall we do about it? They had a 10-point plan, a manifesto, and one of the things that was in their plan, and one of the things they were doing, was feeding people who were hungry. It was mutual aid. They were providing breakfast to hungry kids and teaching them about their rights as human beings. Well, guess what? The government didn't like, the government, as we say in Texas, the government didn't like that. I keep blanking on his name. Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover, thank you, said that this was the most, this little organization, there were never a ton of seeds in this seed bed. They were always a small organization. And they were young. They were young adults. J. Edgar Hoover says they're the most dangerous organization in the United States. And so he lied, and he had to squash them. What he did was recruit some people, paid them to go into the group and spy on them. People who were not telling the truth about who they were. They went in and they spied on them, and they went back to Hoover at the FBI and told him what was happening. The FBI put out a lot of propaganda. Propaganda is the idea, it's putting forward an idea to get to a specific end. If I am giving you propaganda, I want you to think one thing. I'm telling you how to think, and I'm turning the truth on its ear. He put out propaganda, and he said that these were really bad folks, that they were dangerous, that they were mean, that they were militant, that they were anti-white. And by their own admission, they were not. They were not anti-white. They were not anti-anybody. They were for self-defense and self-determination. Are you for self-defense and self-determination? Sure. That makes sense for all of us. That's fair. But they were not fair. The government was not fair about them. And guess what? Their reputation is still very much tarnished. Any of you know the film Forrest Gump? Right? There's that scene about the Black Panther Party. And it lifts up all of the stereotypes that still are in the air about what we know about them. And they had an organization in Chicago, and Fred Hampton was killed by the government. And
in his bed.
In his bed, right. 21 years old. Yeah. So it's a hard thing to hear. It is a hard thing to hear. And what I want us to say is that it's not the first time that things have been hard. And we don't have to hold the hard truth alone. We hold it together. And we resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end. Oh, we resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end. Now, their 10-point plan was a manifesto. I want to go to the far, far future in a galaxy far, far away. Many of you here are more versed in the Star Wars universe than I am. It would be easy to be more well-versed in the Star Wars universe than I am. But I may get more so. I follow a guy on Facebook who calls himself, his handle is Anti-Fascist Dad. And this week he was talking about how we talk to young ones about what happened in Minneapolis this week. And he talked about Nemec's manifesto from the TV series Andor, which is part of the Star Wars story. Nemec's manifesto, Nemec was this ideological intellectual and a rebel in the story. The nature of rebellion, his manifesto really talks about the philosophical basis for the nature of the rebellion against the galactic empire. The galactic empire. And it's the basis of the Rebel Alliance. Andor, the show Andor, follows Cassian Andor's journey from being a cynical thief to a dedicated rebel hero, and it's set before the story Rogue One. And Rogue One is about a band of unlikely rebel heroes who unite for this desperate mission to steal the plans for the Death Star. They had a plan to do this. And so people are not working alone, they're working together. And they have this manifesto, this philosophical basis for it. Ben read part of it, but here's the whole thing. Nimick says, there are times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy. Remember this. Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies and battalions that have no idea that they are already enlisted in the cause. Remember that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and that even the smallest insurrection pushes our lines forward. And remember this, the need for imperial control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It leaks, it breaks. Authority is brittle, and oppression is the mask of fear. Remember that. And know this, the day will come when all the skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance, will have flooded the banks of the empire's authority, and there will be one too many. One single thing can break the siege. We resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end. And that leads us to the present. To the death on the street this week of a mom, a dog owner, a wife, a friend, a legal observer, Renee Good. I love that her last name is Good. By another human being, by ICE agent, whom I don't know much about. Could be a dad, could be a friend, could be a neighbor, could be a dog owner. Jonathan Ross. Two human beings who meet on the street with horrible consequences. We don't know how to hold it, but we do know it's not right. We do know it's not fair. And so lots of people this week have risen up. It's not the first time in South Minneapolis that people have been out on the street. I have to tell you, and so many of you have been so kind this morning. I heard somebody say, I'm surprised to see you here. I thought you'd be in Minneapolis. You know, I lived there for 26 years, and my home was in South Minneapolis, about 4 miles from where this happened. And it was hard this week to be away. I scanned those photos on Facebook. I looked closely, and I saw the faces of people I know who were out in the streets. They're out in the streets witnessing and protesting and blowing their whistles and observing. And they're also doing real mutual aid. They're collecting money and food for people. They're giving rides to people who are afraid to go out. They're picking up kids from school when parents are afraid to go. They're being on signal chats with each other, finding out what's needed and where. They are truly, truly community, and they didn't have to build it from scratch on, what day was it, Wednesday? They didn't have to build it from scratch on day one. They had already been doing that. This is the same neighborhood where George Floyd was killed. It's the same city where Jamar Clark died, and near where Philando Castile died, and all of these things that had happened, and people were already ready to be with each other on the street. They already knew that they were inextricably linked. I put this on my newsletter article, and I'll say it again. Ashley Horan, who's the Unitarian Universalist Association Vice President for Ministries and Programs. We love those big, big names. Ashley lives just a block from where Renee Good was killed. And Ashley is just all right. She is salt of the earth. And so she was reporting, she was doing a live comment about what was going on. And if you're not following Ashley Horan on Facebook, she's a really great person to follow. And she said, as a Unitarian Universalist, I know two things in my bones. That every human being has worth and dignity. That each of us is precious. Now, one of the things that means for me is I don't want Jonathan Ross to be shot in the street any more than I want Renee Good to be. I don't have to know him or like him to believe that he has worth and dignity. And I'm telling you, that is a hard place for me not to let hatred in. That's the resistance for me right now, is to not let hatred in, because I'm telling you, it wants to get in the door of my heart. To believe as a matter of faith that every human being has worth and dignity, even if they have lost their humanity, even if they lie, they still have worth and dignity. That is what this faith teaches me. And the second thing I know in my bones, Ashley says, I too, is that we are inextricably interdependent. Our lives depend on each other. We are connected in all of these ways, not just with the people that we love and like, but each and every one of us on this planet. Each and every one of us. And so we can't extract, we can't pull apart how we are interdependent. If those two things are true, that everyone has worth and dignity, and we are all connected, then we have to care about each other. We have to care about each other. Now, I've been thinking a lot about the young ones who are with us in our service. I've been thinking about the young ones who are with us in the service, and I thought, what is it that you can say if someone at school or in your scout troop or your swim team or soccer or Lego group or whatever else it is that you do, if someone says what they may have heard from someone else, well, she deserved it, or yes, in your workplace, or wherever else you are, she deserved it, she shouldn't have been doing that. I can say, without having to argue with what I saw with my own eyes on the video, I don't have to say our government is lying, even though they're... I can say, because of my faith, I believe that everyone has worth and dignity, and that we are all interconnected, and so we have to care about each other. That's hard to argue with. Someone could argue with me, but I think for me that's the takeaway, and that's what I'm holding, to not let hatred in and not have to argue with both the people who have lost their humanity. I don't have to argue with the people who have lost their humanity. I can pray for them. I can hope for them. I can show a better way. I can be one act of resistance and say that because of my faith, I believe that every human being has worth and dignity, and that we are all interconnected, and so we have to care about each other. It's a simple equation. Our government is not telling us the truth, but you know what? It's just not the first time. It's not even the first time recently. It's not even the first time recently. On January 6th, we saw it with our own eyes, and they told us we didn't see what we saw. Right? Well, just because you repeat a lie often enough does not make it true. But it's lonely to just say, well, that's not true. Well, that's not true. It's more hopeful to me to speak it out of my faith. So now I want you to do with your hands, side to side. Not hierarchical, but side to side. One pushes one way, and I want you to push back against it. I want you to really push back against it. I mean, I want you to push back against it and feel like you're winning. I'm pushing to the left. Do y'all see that? I'm always going to push to the left. Given a choice, I'm always going to push to the left. When you need to breathe this week, when you are feeling in despair, whether it's this week or next month or whenever it is, when you pick up the piece that Jenny created for us for the social justice table out here, these are the names of, there were 30 deaths this year in migrant detention facilities. 7 of them occurred in December, and they were names like Francisco and Shiraz and Jean and Delwan and Fuad and Nenki and Jose and Jesus and Maria. It was when it was a woman named Renee, a white woman, that I heard about it first. So we keep our ears open. We try not to despair. And when you're feeling it, I want you to put your hands together at home, when you're at home this week or you're reading the news or whatever, and it's just, you can't get your breath. I want you to be the Rebel Alliance and push back against the empire. May you be blessed, and may you be a blessing. May it be so, and amen. We're going to sing together. Circle Round for Freedom. We're going to sing it twice. Madison?
Please stand as you're willing and able and sing with me. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for restore. For the children of our children. Keep the circle roll. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle for the planet. Circle for restore. For the children of our children. Keep the circle roll. Thank you. Please be seated.
Let us extinguish all our chalices here and those with our friends online by saying together, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So much gratitude for all the folks who helped to bring this service together. Our guest pianist, Ann Kimber, thank you so much for the ragtime. Oh, beautiful. Our music coordinator, Madison Mayfield. Our tech team, Titus Klinge and Melissa Neeson. Our facilitators, Kay Puttock and Ben Walleen. All the treat bringers and coffee servers and greeters and cleanup crew. For Dana Haas, our Director of Religious Education. For you folks online, so glad that you're with us today. It takes many, many folks to do it, and we have a place for you in this. If you're not already a greeter or a coffee server, we have a place for you to be a part of this. We come carried by ancestors who refused the silence of despair and dared to sing a new song. Their courage whispers through us still. Take that courage with you into this week. Take their courage, take your heart when it breaks, and know that together we can build it up again. Blessed be. And after Anne plays, go in peace. Thank you.